Hello all, and welcome to our interview series, hosted as part of the WSIS Forum 2021, where we'll introduce some of the leading innovative projects and activities collected through our coronavirus response ICT case repository. Today I have the honor of being joined with Dhwani Trivedi, who will be discussing her contactless camera-enabled infrared thermal scanner initiative. So Ms. Trivedi, I'd like to start off by asking how the coronavirus pandemic has impacted your work and the work of your community.
Well, I would say initially it was a bit difficult to adjust to a new situation, but we all humans have a great tendency to adapt to the situations and make the best use of it. So I feel the pandemic has been a huge opportunity for me to learn and grow. I'm currently a student of engineering, studying in electronics and communication. So all of our colleges were shut down and the whole system was disrupted. And because of all we had to do was to quarantine ourselves, and we had like a lot of free time. So even in this trying times, I got various opportunities to grow and learn and enhance my skills. And in this lockdown period has actually helped me to come up with this innovative project that I've for the COVID-19 response.
Thank you. The ability to adapt has been really integral during these times. That you had to go through and that your project had to face, and how you were able to manage them.
Well, when I decided to build this project, the first step was to gather all the necessary components to, sort of build the prototype. And, the lockdown was just implemented. And because of that, the logistics and everything was disrupted. And it was quite difficult to get access to the necessary sensors and everything. So, and the major problem was the availability of the components. So it took a lot of time to get access to all these resources. Especially the infrared thermal scanner was quite difficult to buy from the market. However, I was quite lucky that all the other components were available at home, and I could successfully build the prototype.
Well, it's amazing to hear how resourceful you've managed to be and how you managed to persevere during these times. Next, could you tell the audience the name of your project and also give a brief description of it?
So the project is a contactless camera-enabled infrared thermal scanner. So with the infrared scanner, like this project is inspired from the normal thermal scanners that we have in the market, and where the just by placing the scanners on the skin, on the body, it would show the temperature of that person. But now there is no such system developed. There was no such system developed during that time where all those data was recorded, and there was no proof of the person, like which person has high temperature. So that's where I thought that I were involving implementing camera into the Raspberry Pi device, and where and whereas there is the LCD also connected to the Raspberry Pi device. And now when the person stands in front of the camera, the temperature of the body is recorded from the thermal scanner, and using that camera, the picture of that person is displayed on the screen. And the major part is that the temperature is annotated on that screen, where so the image of the person as well as the temperature that he or she has is also displayed on the screen. And all these images can be stored in the government database, and afterwards it can be quite like helpful to the government institutions and the healthcare organizations, so that to trace those people who have high temperatures. And so this is the overall idea of the project. And like the main idea is to sort of embed the temperature into the image of the person, so that it could be really easy and it could smooth the overall process to sort of prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Thank you, Ms. Trivedi. It's really inspiring to hear about such an innovative project. Could you provide us insight as to when you thought about this and how you formed the idea?
So, right now the only option to track the coronavirus patients is to find out with whom they have been in contact with in the, and it becomes quite difficult for all these organizations to sort of track down these people. Now, what my project does is that once the picture is clicked, and if that person has high temperature, then it will be easier for the government authority to track down this sort of people, as they have their photographs and the temperature as well, so that these people can be easily tracked down, and the whole process can be quite it can be smooth enough, and the overall spread can be prevented at a greater extent. And this is how the whole idea, this is basically the whole idea of the project.
Thank you. Could you, for the audience, could you really distill then the mission of your project?
So right now, this project is in a prototype stage. It can be further enhanced by imbibing machine learning algorithms. And, if we can sort of we can gather all this data of people along with their temperatures, and, which can sort of automatically cluster where and we can predict where we can predict next wave of such situations. And we can predict that if a more number of people have high temperatures in a specific area, then we can classify them into contaminant zones or green zones, or yellow zones where there's not much of a possibility of coronavirus cases. Now, this is how the information can be gathered and the contact tracing can be done. So my further plan is sort of also that, we can sort of use this project in the surveillance cameras in the cities, where it would be much easier for the government authorities to identify and prevent the spread of COVID-19. And I feel that, ICT plays a major role in, sort of preventing this whole pandemic situation.
I agree. ICTs are vital in these times, especially. Next, could you just go in a little more depth as to the specific technologies you're using?
So this project is an exclusive ICT project. And if I talk about the components that are included in this prototype, is that the first thing is it contains a low-cost microprocessor Raspberry Pi device. It has an infrared thermal scanner. It has a LCD display screen and a small Raspberry Pi camera. Now, integrating all of them on the Raspberry Pi device, and programming for this specific project a little bit, this prototype is developed. And the overall cost of this project is quite low, because right now, like when I bought these devices, the overall cost, the whole project actually cost me around $10. And if we sort of go for further mass production, then the whole cost can be reduced to a greater extent. And so it has all the principles, like it has in electronics, it has communication technologies, it has sort of a little bit of flavor of computer science, programming and everything. So I feel that it merges all those principles into one single project.
Thank you, Ms. Trivedi. It was really inspiring to hear about that. Now, lastly, I was just wondering if you could tell the audience a little more about you and your background, personally and professionally.
So I am I'm currently studying in my final year, pursuing bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering from BVM Engineering College, India. BVM Engineering College is one of the oldest colleges in India. And I have developed various projects in the field of ICT, artificial intelligence for good. I also even got an opportunity to, present my ideas on artificial intelligence in education and ethics in the UNESCO's Mobile Learning Week in 2018. I in fact got an opportunity to I have also been a participant in, ICTP and in those workshops where I learned about, open source technology, wireless communication technologies and LoRaWAN. And, by all these factors have really motivated me to pursue my field in ICT and, develop such innovations. And I'm quite enthusiastic about developing these sort of innovations for the changing world by keeping the sustainable development goals in my mind. And lastly, I would like to thank the WSIS and the ITU for giving me an amazing opportunity to, describe my innovation and present it. And it has been an amazing platform and opportunity because, and it is really helpful for students like us who are pursuing working in this field and want to, develop really great solutions in this field. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And yeah,
Well, we're very happy to have you with us today. Thank you for
thank
joining
you
us,
very much.
Ms. Trivedi. We
Thank you.
really appreciate it. And for those of you who followed this interview through our WSIS Process Facebook Live, we appreciate your presence. If you are interested in today's interview and wish to receive more information, you can access our report, Coronavirus Response ICT Case Repository, on the WSIS Stocktaking platform. And if you wish to connect and learn more about the process, feel free to contact wisis-info@itu.int. If you too have a story to share, we invite you to submit your ICT-related project to the WSIS Stocktaking platform in our section dedicated specifically to the ICTs and coronavirus response. Once more, we thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all in our next interview.